Okay. Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's doing well. We're back with another stream for you guys. So, hopefully, you guys appreciate the stream. And basically, what I got planned today, like I said, it's not going to be a crazy long stream. It's going to be a quick one. But what I got planned, since it's the last day of Black History Month, I'm gonna give you guys what's up, Super Ninja Chicken. What's good, Mach? Welcome in, everybody. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna give you guys the last history lesson of the month, since it is the last day of Black History Month. I wish I could have covered more. Like I said, next year I'll try to minimize my distractions, minimize my consistency to better have it equipped so that I can teach you guys a lot. Because from what I understand, at least one of you guys learned a lot more from my lessons in Black history and the Black experience, just kind of how we're perceived societally. I mean, a lot of you guys already know how we're perceived societally, but just a lot of the unwarranted ways we're perceived and a lot of the perceptions that's been instilled in us and given it to us, because it's like I told you guys, people always see black people in this negative light, or that we're this and that we're that. And hopefully me teaching you guys a lot of what happened throughout history and how we were treated shows you that, we may have been perceived this way, but until you actually know us, can't really have an opinion. But I think that's the whole problem with the whole systemic racism and the systemic discrimination. A lot of people have perceptions about us and my community without knowing us and my community, and a lot of other black people similar to myself, we can tell who's been around other black people or who grew up with black people versus who hasn't, you know. So just something to consider, guys. We can tell because we know who's been around and who grew up around black people versus who hasn't. And like I said, every day we're fighting the fight to make sure that we're seen as equal and seen as on the same playing field. But constantly, as I will show you guys today throughout history, we're constantly getting knocked down a peg. And then when, you guys know that black community is on the lower, a lot of us are below the poverty line or at the poverty line. And then, they always call us lazy or that we don't want to work, or, just a lot of these racial stereotypes without knowing black people. And this is why I say a lot of black folks can tell who's grew up and who's been around black people versus who hasn't and has opinions about black people that they never met. But I did all that long wittiness today. Hang on, Super Ninja Chicken, you said I'm fine. Just see, right, Jay is right, my boy. I'm fine. Just been brainstorming stuff for OCs. Okay, nice. You're still working on your story. W Super Ninja. As soon as that drops, bro, you gotta send it to me. I'm a promo you and send it to the channel because I know you've been talking about it for a minute. But today, guys, we're gonna talk about the Black Wall Street. A lot of the black folks in the community, again, similar to me, we know what happened. What's up, Sir Liam? I'm giving my last Black History Month lesson. A lot of black folks know what happened to Black Wall Street, but I know there's a lot of you guys who do not know that a Black Wall Street existed. A lot of you guys are familiar with the Wall Street that we know today. You know, stock market, stock exchange, hundreds of thousands of dollars people are making every day, or millions of dollars, not hundreds of thousands. Lots of money playing with people's pensions, playing with people's funds. At one point, there was a Black Wall Street, but as you guys know, I will always provide my commentary, but I'm going to play this video. He does a really good job in explaining it. And then if there's anything missing, I'll try to fill it in of what I know. Because again, I'm not completely well versed in it, but I know enough about what happened. And I bet you guys could guess what happened to it and why it happened, how it happened. But also want to say too, thank you to everybody on the Blue app that's been showing me love. We got to our goal of 110 followers. We're going to try to get to 115 followers now. We've been growing steadily. And like I said, I'm just trying to get it out, man. We have to get to about, I think, 10,000 to actually get monetized, which is kind of nuts. But that's neither here nor there. Hang on, let me just adjust this real quick. But yeah, I'm gonna teach you guys a little bit about Black Wall Street, what Black Wall Street is, and provide my insight where I can. So, per usual, come hang out for a bit. And oh, let's do attendance too. First comment of the day goes to Super Ninja Chicken. Then the second comment went to Mach. Then we got James. Then we got Sir Liam. Welcome in everybody. Hopefully I'm not long winded, but I really just want to drill this home. Oh yeah, I thought it was a lot less, Sir Liam, but I think we get subscriptions at like 500 followers, so you know how that goes. But hopefully we start. Like I said, I ordered. I think I told you guys this. I ordered my Meta glasses, the lenses, prescription lenses, because I got them for Christmas. And I told you guys all I've been wanting to do is be able to stream to Facebook. And now that I'm able to stream there, it should start rolling. And we've been getting like a follower a day right now. So I don't want to jinx it, but like a follower a day or follower every other day. So it's coming in. And I definitely know when I can get my Meta glasses and my prescriptions and start going out and traveling the world and, you know, because I got a few trips planned. I definitely think that'll get me more followers. And I just noticed with Facebook, they talk a lot of shit. It's a lot of old miserable people that I just talk mad shit. But again, I don't want to rant too much. We're gonna jump into our video covering Black History, Black Wall Street, last lesson of the day for Black History, and then we're gonna play some Roblox. So let me get this right. Again, if you guys have any questions, be sure to ask. Yeah, I'm just glad I was able to teach you guys a little bit, you know, because I know it's different. But and hopefully we don't get fucking shadow banned because every single time we talk about Black History Month, TikTok flags my channel and like shuts it down. So it has to like it's so fucking annoying, man. I don't know what's going on with that or why ever since I stopped talking about like different lessons every day, no problems. Soon as I start covering Black History, it starts getting weird and fucky. So I don't know what's up with that, but I'm gonna leave that for y'all. I'm not gonna make any assumptions, but I'm gonna leave it. Not me, I'm not old. I'm old. Okay. You guys ready? Hold on, let me put my face cam on. Because I have to provide proper commentary. La 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 la. Lee 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 lee. Okay. Here we go. Let's learn about the burning of Black Wall Street, guys. Could you take a guess on how you think it ends? Said, I should note that I'm working on two stories at the same time, one being a huge critique of AI and the other being about how no matter how tough life is, you're stronger and that you have to make your life worthwhile. Okay, I see you, Super Ninja. Wait, so when are you going to start getting this stuff animated and get it into action? Or is that too soon to say? You just working out the storyboard right now?
The Drexel Building, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, this also took place in Oklahoma. And if you guys know, I'm like 98% sure Oklahoma had the Jim Crow kind of stuff going on. Because Oklahoma is one of those states. But let me see something. It doesn't exist anymore. Yup. That's Mosh. It doesn't exist anymore. And it is attempting, not even attempted, attempting to being erased from history. Because of our current presidential candidate constantly trying to pull out different erase Black history, erase the infantrymen, all the different. You're seeing all these different consistencies where these people are whatchamacallit, where they're just trying to erase Black history. Because again, I don't know if I don't want to show you. If you guys want, I could show you this documentary that I seen, which kind of really emphasizes like the depth that people. Nah, Oklahoma was woke totally. I don't know what happened. Hell nah. Oklahoma, hell nah. But I can show you guys this documentary, and it's like these kind of people who think like this. It's basically, again, you could maybe call me too chronically online or someone that's too in the know about stuff, but I like to understand different people's perspectives and surround myself with different perspectives so that I can get it. There's this, you guys might have heard of this. It was going viral on TikTok. What's up, XX, my boy? I'm giving my last Black History Month lesson. So tap in, listen real well. But there's this group called Return to the Land, right? They there's like this it's like a group of white people, and you have to be of European descent because they want their children to be pure. They want their children to be European and integrate these European traits. Okay, cool. There's nothing wrong with having your preference and nothing having, if you want your kids to be a certain way, you want this to be a certain. Okay, cool. The problem is when they start spouting hate and just misinformation. Like they're trying, like, again, I can show you guys if you really want to see. I'm typically not one to give platforms to people who are just illiterate, but these guys call themselves philosophical intellectuals. Yet these are the people that feel like they say like what did they say? They said like a white high school graduate is less aggressive than a black college graduate. Like it's just such odd race science, and they're so keen on making sure that their kids are European and pure, and that they're not mixing, and that they're like it's just little shit like that that's so odd to me. When you hear people start talking like that, like it, I've been. It's probably because I'm online a lot more, but I've been seeing different things like, oh, like I wouldn't want to date a girl that's been with a black dude, or like you don't mix, da 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 da, and like just little weird. I just see little weird traces of things like that, which is just, it's so odd to me because we're supposed to be in such a progressive time. Granted, they're older, so I don't give it too much thought, but the fact that these people are having children and are passing down these different mindsets, it's just so weird. Like these people are having kids and are probably gonna teach these kids the same things that they're spouting right now. That's where my problem is. If you're racist, go do your thing, be racist, go die in a ditch, and you're done. These people are planning on having kids and passing this down, and it just passes and passes and passes. It's gonna constantly be a thing that passes down throughout history. But all that to say, yeah, they want to be by themselves. That's fine. They want to do this, but they're also saying like they're gonna teach their kids certain things because school is so woke nowadays that they don't want their children to be seen as the villain because they're white and get taught history that villainizes white and being European. It's such a cop out to me, and I'm like, are you like, it just goes to show you, you can see how obvious white fragility is, and white ego and white guilt. It's a mix of white fragility, white ego, and white guilt. Like obviously when someone says, oh, like white people are this and that, they're obviously not talking about all white people. But again, there's that ego and that fragility where like you just feel like you have to defend this and have to defend that, when if you're being factual about it, realistically, probably about 75, 80, maybe even more percent, a large majority of white European ancestors that came to America, they have owned slave or enslaved people, especially in the South, And even to this day, there is white people who are racist against minorities, but primarily black people, because again, black people have been villainized and stereotyped throughout society, throughout history, throughout bitch ass Ronald Reagan. Rest in piss, you bum. It's just all these different instances where you see these different things. But that's why I'm yapping a bit. That's why I'm yapping a little bit. Let me read my comments. You said I'm just doing a story and I'm struggling with writing dialogue and great choreography and fights. The internet has been a boon in vain to society since inception, Ian. I agree, Sir John. I feel like the internet has been helpful in that it's teaching a lot of people things that they wouldn't have known. Perfect example being one of our viewers in Mach. She didn't know about a lot of like these black histories and black experiences. Like she didn't know a lot about this, and the stuff that she learned in school is about like world history instead of the focus on like slavery and black history. So I'm teaching her some things, and I'm hoping that a lot of people who are watching this are learning some things and can have these uncomfortable conversations. Because I tell you guys all the time, I make a joke about it, but there's some truth to it. I'm just a black guy with glasses. My hope is that if you guys are, you know, these like this progressive, you want to have these uncomfortable conversations, you guys take this and talk to your parents about it and say like, "Hey, why was this like this? Was my mom's mom racist? Was my mom's mom this?" And then you have those convos to start breaking down and understanding why this is happening and call out that's a lot of things. There's a lot of complicity. Like these people don't want to correct people who are racist behind closed doors, or you have a boyfriend who is accepting of different race friends or but are really racist behind closed doors when it's just white people around. This is why I want to teach you guys a lot of these things and show you guys, because they want to erase history. People don't want to talk about it. People don't want to have these uncomfortable conversations. And it is important for us. This is what spreads knowledge and makes people want to break these barriers down. That's my main thing. But okay, and I'm yapping. I'm yapping. I'm yapping. Sir Liam said, "When I hear the you don't mix type stuff, it's basically ideology saying I shouldn't exist." Right. And this is why I say it's important to have these uncomfortable conversations, because someone who's mixed like Sir Liam, but you may not think he's mixed, you know, but he's mixed, and it's like when you start saying different traction ideologies with stuff like that starts coming up, you start invalidating people's whole existence. It's nuts, you know. This may sound strange, but this yo super ninja yo, my boy talking about his show. We get into the thick of it right now. Hold on. XX said, I like to think the world is cooked. I don't see another 100 years out of us. Not gonna lie, after today, yeah, those bombs, man. That's another thing I wanted to talk with y'all about, man. About what the fuck is going on in Iran and or Iran and Israel. He said like it's not talking about us now. They're talking about the past and trying to prevent it from happening again. Right. One of the main things I learned from my history teacher, Sir John knows, answer Liam, but we might have had different teachers, depending on who you took. One of the main things I will always remember to my last breath, my history teacher always said, history is important because you want to prevent it from happening again. It's important to learn about history so it does not happen for a second time, because it history tends to repeat itself. And that's why I make sure to pay attention to history, even though I'm not necessarily interested in history. Some parts are more interesting than others, but you know, Mod said I already know my grandma on my mom's side was racist. Thankfully, she wasn't in my life a lot. Yeah, I can only imagine what kind of things she would say at those conversations. So uncomfortable, especially I know you're mixed race. So, well, actually, that's because she didn't like my dad. Yup, that's how it is. Any person of color or minority, and this is why I don't understand the hate against black folks, because black community, black people, we were the original like down below. People always seen us as second class, but we paved the ways for a lot of the other minorities to come over here and set the tone for them to have the equal rights and equal opportunities. You know, that's why I don't understand why you have Hispanic people who don't like black people, or Asian people who don't like black people, or you see if Asian communities kind of they exemplify the whole model minority myth, which again, that's a whole another conversation that I could break down for you guys. What's up, Fluff? But also, my grandma was kind of like that too. She didn't like my mom, but yeah, it's just the best way I could say it, right? Is when you have someone from one culture and someone from another culture, and they created a family, like they kind of coming together, but they were separate in your two different pockets, and you pass down generation to generation. When you start to mix, it's like they're so used to their different cultures, and they already have these, I don't want to say false pretenses, but assumptions of these different groups, so that it's always, you know, it's a whole ass thing. He said, was it the guy who always rode the bike? Yeah, him and Daly. I think I took a class with every history teacher at that school except one. He wasn't, no way. Not talking about the thing I'm working on. I was adding a conversation. Oh, okay, hold on. My boy Super Ninja says something. Then we're going to jump into the video. I know I'm yapping too much, but I want to make sure we spend time on this. Yes, yes. Like it's like stuff like that, Fluff, that contributes to the whole thing. Okay. Super Ninja Chicken said, this may sound strange, but the superhero show Static Shock did a really good episode on racism. Yes, Static Shock is goated. I love that show growing up, called Sons and Fathers. with it doing a really good job at teaching kids watching it how bad racism is, right? But this is why I have such a quarrel with like this online edgelord humor. Like when I was a kid, I kind of seen the like the viability in it, but as I got older, that shit just aged like milk. It's like, oh, I'm gonna be racist. Oh, I'm gonna say the N word. Oh, cause this and that. And it's just like, yeah, shit gets old. But again, like little kids or little kids of different races or white, they just think, oh, it's just a word. Why is this so deep? When if you do the time and put in your history and you actually learn, you understand why that word is so deep. I feel like nobody should really even be saying that word honestly, but the fact that the word got taken back by the community, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it, but I feel like in hindsight, we should all not be using the word because of the weight and the gravity of how deep that shit goes. But enough yapping. Let me jump in. Let me jump in.
Illegal.
We're again,
Financial,
guys.
largely
We're
due-
gonna be teaching you guys about the Black Wall Street before it is no longer before what happened to it.
The Drexel Building, Tulsa, Oklahoma, May 30th, 1921. In the third floor
1921, guys. So my mom's mom was probably alive or being born around that time. Just to give you guys context. Oh, this happened so long ago. My mom's mom was probably either being born or alive during this.
lobby stands 19-year-old Dick Rowland, an orphan living with an adopted family who works at the white-owned parlor down the street. He comes here to the Drexel Building to use the restroom. Tulsa is a segregated city, and he has
Segregated city, guys, in Oklahoma. Wow, surprising.
walked down the street to the Drexel and has taken an elevator 3 floors to reach the closest colored restroom.
Again, people were so fucking racist back then. They had separate bathrooms. People didn't want to use the same sink or toilet as someone who was black. Just think about that. It's just so crazy to me. Like the only difference between us is our origin, our genetic origin, and the amount of melanin in our skin and the texture of our hair. That's it. But again, you always seen as a second class citizen. I just wanted to emphasize that. And even today, you still see little remnants of that. Yeah, my grandma, she's alive, probably alive during this, or born.
The door opens, and on the other side stands Sarah Page, the elevator's 17-year-old operator. He must know that being alone in any capacity with a white girl is dangerous for a young black man.
Here at Emmett Till. See, we covered Emmett Till in another stream, y'all.
But he has to get back to work. Roland steps into the elevator, not knowing that what happens next will provoke a white mob to kill over 100 people and burn his entire town to the ground.
Let me play that again for y'all. Let me play that again one more time. Pay attention.
But he has to get back to work. Roland
He was cautious of getting in the elevator with a white woman alone. 1921. But he had to get his work done.
steps into the elevator, not knowing that what happens next will provoke a white mob to kill over 100 people and burn his entire town to the ground.
Get your whole entire town burnt to the ground by a group of angry Caucasian men because what? Standing in an elevator with a white woman to get to your job? Let's learn some history, guys. Let's learn some history.
The YouTube revenue of this video will be donated to the NAACP
W's.
Legal Defense Fund.
Let's go.
To help us explain this horrible episode in America's history, we've asked triple African American Literary Award winner Stephen Van Patten to write this episode. Thanks so much, Stephen. 57 years after the United States abolished slavery.
You guys heard that? 57 years after slavery was abolished.
The Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, was a surprisingly prosperous slice of Americana. Greenwood's population was comprised of blacks who had migrated there from the South, seeking improved conditions, but found that better life elusive. Originally, they tried to settle in Langston, Oklahoma, but were run off by racist whites before landing in Tulsa. Despite
Hang on. Let me see. 1921 is around when my northeastern home was built. 1921 was around the time my great maternal grandparents arrived in the U.S. Man, I always find history like I think one day we should all just, I probably couldn't trace mine, or maybe Liam might have better luck, but I probably couldn't trace mine that well. But I know, Sir John, it'd be interesting to learn about your heritage and like everyone come in, and I just find stuff like that so interesting.
Despite the city's strict Jim Crow-style segregation laws, Greenwood's mostly black residents played an integral part in building up their neighborhood. In fact, being isolated from their hostile white neighbors may have actually helped them build Greenwood into a prosperous district.
So basically, guys, they were isolated in their own little pocket with an all black community. That's what you guys need to take away from this. It's mainly all black community, but they were isolated through you know, because of racism. Imagine being that type of person because it won't let me send it and balding. Hey, it was easy. It's even still, it's just easy to talk shit and break down black folks. Even though a lot of our style today, a lot of our music today, trendy music that everybody likes to listen to, all of that stuff is the backbone for a lot of the culture. A lot of people carry on their badge and exemplify today. DNA test. See, Sir John, I could do that. Thing is, though, I could probably guess what it's gonna say. Like, it's gonna tell me I'm part of this part of Africa, that part of Africa. But I want to know, like who was my parent that got taken here and brought here, and who was my great 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 grandma. But stuff like that is hard to follow because there's no record. When you were tooken, there's no record.
That civil rights activist
Again,
and author Booker
growing
T.
up being black.
Washington nicknamed Black Wall Street. The state of Oklahoma, and Tulsa in particular, had done well financially, largely due to a bustling oil industry that had caused a population boom around the turn of the century and made many fortunes. That success allowed white Tulsans to hire black people from nearby Greenwood as domestics. In turn, the Greenwood blacks saved their money, invested in their communities, and started their own businesses.
Again, today this is always the goal, but I just feel like now it's a lot harder because our economy and everything. But this is why you see a lot of people bang home the whole saying support black businesses, because this was a time where fresh, or not fresh, but like 50 years, I feel like 50 years, looking historically speaking, that's kind of freshly out of slavery, you managed to get your own part of town in the state that's pretty racist, build a community and invest in your community and build wealth enough so that you're able to open up businesses and reinvest the financials in your community, which then sets up generational wealth. They were able to do that here, which I find beautiful. But you're gonna see what happens next. Hang on. Also, I'm gonna be drawing a tattoo idea. Fluff, what you talking about for a tattoo? Just word of mouth from family record. You said, I know some parts of my heritage in decent detail, some parts less so. I don't know much detail about the African American part of my heritage either. See what I'm saying, Sir John? So it's like, when it comes to the whole, a lot of African Americans, it's just, ancestry.com kind of helps, but it doesn't help in that we probably don't know our great 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 grandmom's like name or something that came over, while like say your family, Sir John, who kind of immigrated here in the early 1900s, there's paperwork of who your mom's mom and dad is, while for us it was just, oh, here's this dude, muscular, this and that, his name is this, written on a paper, and that's it. There's no like official documentation, because we weren't seen as humans. We were seen as livestock. We were seen as cattle. We were seen as stuff you breed to have more of. So when you finally get rid of slavery and you're kind of just, it's hard to have a record of that, is what I'm trying to say, Sir John. I know a lot of my mother's side and some of my father's side even learned that there have been other Johns on my father's side with my last name. That's legacy though, man. That's beautiful. All right, let me stop yapping. But yeah, point is, they got to the point that a lot of us want to get to today, where you can build that community and be able to build businesses to invest back into that community, despite being isolated and bullied out of town just by the color of your skin by white people.
And with those businesses came an opulence unheard of. It's said that on Sundays, the women wore satin and diamonds, and the men wore silk and gold chains.
See what I'm saying? They flexing. They was doing well, chat. They was doing well, chat.
Historian James S. Hirsch reported, teachers lived in brick houses, furnished with Louis XIV dining room sets, fine china, and Steinway pianos. It was a monument to black excellence. Dr. A.C. Jackson, considered the most skilled black surgeon in America, lived in Greenwood.
See what I'm saying? But this is what I tell you guys, where it's like, I know people love to say, oh, black people are this, black people are that. But if you got the proper setup to finally be on level playing field as someone of a, you know what I'm saying? You would really start to see not only like the community rise above the poverty line, people will start to be able to have that financial backing to go and do things that they want to do. More people will be enticed to want to go to school. More people will be enticed to want to go pursue different ventures because they know they have that cushion. Do you know how many black people I know that just who just threw school all the way? They couldn't even go to school. I know my boy. My boy he couldn't go to school because he had to take care of somebody else's child. It's just when, and this is what they mean by white privilege, guys. Like obviously not all white people have that backing, but if you're able to be comfortable enough to go decide to go fuck off and do what you want to do, that's good for you. There's some people who can't go to college because they have to go make money for their family or their mom who's struggling, or you don't have that comfort that someone who got the generation and generation, or like they got like a couple generation house that they can live on, you know, from, or the mortgages are and the house is already paid off, they just have to do the taxes. That much every year makes a difference versus someone who's living in an apartment who never got to own a house from their great great grandma or a family passed down house. These are just different examples of where when you were this complexion, you got that leg up, you know, because you didn't have to worry about certain things that someone like me would have to worry about because we're starting on a clean slate versus someone who had generation and generation of resources, backing, and financial stability. But hold on. Unc, what are you on about? Yo, Moises, we talking about Black Wall Street. It's the last day of Black History. So I figure I teach you guys about a very crazy experience. He said, well, I understand that, but even still, it gives some answers. Even the geographic location is more information. Yeah, I just would want to know, like, who my great great grandmom is by name. Not like, oh, she was from Nigeria. Like, okay, that's cool, but that doesn't give me much. But that's just me, though.
There was not one, but two movie theaters.
Yeah,
And
two
there was
movie
J.B.
theaters.
Stratford's 54-room hotel, the largest in America owned by a black man. All the more remarkable considering Stratford had been born into slavery.
Imagine you were born into slavery. You watched your moms and your moms on a plantation or growing up in like a crop plantation, sharecrop shit. I forget what they call it. I'm sorry, it escapes me right now. But imagine you grew up seeing all of that stuff and you were born into slavery and you managed to fucking be so financially wealthy that you can build a fucking hotel. Like that's goals, bruh.
This was in stark contrast to other parts of the country, where American blacks were often forced to live in harsher conditions.
Which is the case in a lot of scenarios today. A lot of Section 8 housing, a lot of lower, like I said, a lot of my community is below the poverty line or barely at the poverty line.
Especially in the Midwest and South, where the sharecropping system remained in place.
That's what it is
There,
called.
they labored tirelessly on another person's land, surrendering the majority of their crops to the landlord. As a result, they were trapped in debt to white landowners, some of whom former slave owners.
You guys seeing it now? You guys see how it stacks up, and ever since the beginning of time, you were just pulled down and kept down. Just by this, guys. Just by this, guys. That's what I want to bring
When blacks
home for
tried
you
to
guys.
improve their situation, white neighbors often responded with violence, whether individual or communal, and black men who showed ambition were often targets of lynchings.
And I can't show you guys on stream because I don't want to get not only shadow banned, but also I don't want to get any strikes or nothing. But just take my word for it, guys. I could have you guys do the research, but I don't want you guys to get upset. But lynchings were so common during this time right here, guys. Lynchings were so common that they were on postcards. Like, you guys really need to understand. Like, today we look at that shit like, are you fucking serious? But the shit it was like a spectacle. It was like the equivalent of like those gladiator fights in Rome. Everybody would gather around the town circle. and say you had a black dude who stole something because he couldn't afford it, or a dude who was allegedly to be whistling at a white woman, they'd all come together and just lynch the person. They'd lynch the black person in front of everybody and put it on postcards to send to your cousin out in fucking Texas, your white cousin out in Texas. It's just a lot of this shit is normalized, and I also think that's why there's so much tension, and people don't want to address that tension because there's that white guilt and the white fragility. So just something to keep in mind.
But in early 1921,
It's
life was
very
anything but
common.
bleak in Greenwood. The town had become a place of pride, hope, and
This
opportunity.
was the one
For a
town that
time,
was safe
things were
haven,
so
where
good
everybody was
that others
wealthy.
began to migrate there, including black veterans from World War I who were eager to start new lives in the country they had helped defend. That nickname, Black Wall Street,
Oh, hold on. Do you guys want to do a double lesson? You guys might not like this, but you guys hear about the GI Bill? I don't know if you guys know about like the GI Bill and Vietnam War and everything when it came to black people.
coupled with the success of Greenwood's black inhabitants, would feed a growing resentment among whites in the neighboring towns.
Uh-oh.
By some accounts, the black residents of Greenwood had become relaxed and stopped caring about Jim Crow laws or any other trappings of white supremacy because, well, why should they? Not only were they not doing anything wrong, they had earned everything they had through hard work and smart practical investments.
See, okay, so you guys see how it's building up smoothly, right? Everything was coming together. They were building a community, so much so that black people from other parts of the country were migrating to this community so that they can help their potential offspring and pass down that generational wealth that a lot of white people have today. Sir Liam said lynchings hasn't gone away entirely, but it's less common and they're not comfortable being open about it, thankfully. Yes. Yes. It's definitely less common. It's not all the way gone, but okay, I could tell you guys too about the GI Bill. I could see if I could find something on that to explain to you guys how black people were treated during the Vietnam War.
But that resentment
it'll
was
probably be
simmering
something
when
quick.
Dick Rowland stepped into the elevator in the Drexel
Remember guys, remember this at the beginning? Pay attention.
building. Now this part gets hazy, because there are only two people who can tell us what really happened in that elevator. All we have are rumors. Later observers pointed out that the elevator was faulty and never stopped level on the third floor. They claim that Rowland must have tripped and grabbed Paige to prevent a fall. Some say he stepped on her toe. Another theory even suggests that the two knew each other and something more personal was in play, though that was never proven.
You guys you guys catching on here? Could have been one of two things. Either he tripped and fell into her personal area, or something could have potentially been going on between them two.
But what we do know is that whatever happened, Miss Page screamed, a building employee called the police, and Rowland was seen running out of the Drexel. Police pursued Rowland for assault. A local paper printed a story about the incident, saying that Page's dress was ripped, which was a common euphemism newspapers used to imply sexual assault. Details of the alleged crime swelled as the story traveled from person to person until
You think you guys know where this is going?
it was so exaggerated that people said Rowland had raped Page in the elevator, and he
It started out like this. This is just crazy to me. It started out two young kids in an elevator. He tripped to potentially them having something going on. To him R-wording her and doing these crazy things in the elevator to her and ripping her dress and this and that. I think you guys know where this is about to go.
He was arrested the next day. Vigilante justice was nothing new to Oklahomans, and after Rowland's arrest, a mob of armed, angry white men appeared at the courthouse with the intent to lynch him. Then, black men from Greenwood arrived to protect young Rowland, 24 at first, but finally around 75, some of whom were trained World War I.
See, the one time you actually got the numbers to defend yourself from a mob, eh? Crazy how the newspaper used the euphemism for assault, but stepping on someone's shoe is also a euphemism.
On combat vets.
Hey.
And hotel owner J.B. Stratford tried to act as a peacemaker as racial slurs and threats filled the air. Then, a gunshot. Return fire. A running gun battle ensued as the black men retreated back home to Greenwood. What followed was a siege. The men who had sought to protect Rowland took positions and readied themselves, but they'd soon be
Again, Like I told you guys, this black community had its little pocket. There's a little, could we say an archipelago? Like one little archipelago, or archipelago is a series of islands, but like, just think of it like that. You got your one little safe haven, your little bubble. And now these people are coming there to go and get boy for vigilante justice and lynching him. And the community is like, fuck that. You're not about to grab him and lynch him like you do all these other black people. Like I told you guys, black people were on the cover of postcards being lynched. That was like a, hey, hope your family's doing well. Here's his lynching of this random black dude that stole a piece of candy from the store. They're fighting back.
Overwhelmed. Tulsa's white vigilantes were better armed, had them outnumbered, and now had official support from the police. Angry white men from neighboring towns quickly answered the call to arms, many of them hastily deputized by local authorities before indulging in the chaos.
Got the police giving out badges to policemen. And again, you guys know the history of police officers. They used their whole role before they became civil servants were to be slave catchers. So are you guys seeing like the it's just so interesting when you put all the pieces together.
During the attack, the whites deployed a machine gun on a hill and fired into a church, killing the people sheltering inside. Cars filled with rioters drove through Greenwood, firing from every window. White vigilantes dragged black men out of their homes to shoot them in the street, or tie them to the back of cars and drag them through town.
That's another thing that will happen a lot. Yeah. Again, you know better than me, Sir John, but that was another thing that was seen throughout history, tying black men up behind cars and just dragging them down the road, and their back is all rubbed against the pavement, their back gets raw. It's fucked up, man. Like I said, there's a lot of white guilt, but you see people like Trump are trying to erase this history. They're trying to erase this history because there's white people out there. Oh, my parents did this, but I didn't do it. Why do we have to talk about this? Why is it such an uncomfortable conversation?
Smashed windows and kicked in doors to loot personal items like jewelry, furs, and other valuables.
So not only you lynching people, pulling them out in the street, shooting them. There's families here watching their potential mom and dad get shot, this and that, dragging them behind trucks. Now you're robbing and looting all their stuff that they worked hard for.
And as many as 6 airplanes flew overhead, raining dynamite and accelerant on the entire area, destroying homes
on the little bubble, guys. The little bubble of black people. That's it.
And workplaces, from attorneys' offices and beauty salons to hardware stores and funeral homes. This went on until the next afternoon, when the Oklahoma National Guard arrived and declared martial law. It was too late. 10,000 black people were left homeless. The official death toll was 39, but later historians would put it between 75 and 300. Among the dead was Surgeon A.C. Jackson. J.B. Stratford, by contrast, survived, though his proud hotel was nothing more than rubble. And it wasn't alone.
Imagine. You grew up you were born into slavery. One of your greatest accomplishments that you build your hotel, and you watch that shit get crumbled down. By who?
35 blocks had been destroyed, with over $2 million in damage and property loss, roughly $33 million in today's currency.
Damn.
Because local police told the National Guard that there had been a Negro uprising. 6,000 Greenwood residents.
See the narrative, guys? There was a Negro uprising. Whole time, the white people who came there were the aggressors. And this is also ties into the whole narrative of like this is a conversation I had to tell my girlfriend before I started dating her. Was like, as a black man, or just if you're black in general, you're always seen as the aggressor. You're always seen as like intimidating, aggressive, loud. That's also points that are used to kind of like try to make somebody else seem like the victim to get you potentially perpetrated. And this also talks about the other thing I don't know if you remember much about the what's it called, the nerd defense, where black men have to wear glasses when they're being sentenced in jail so that it lessens their sentence because it makes them look less intimidating. Or it's just, it all goes full circle, guys. It's so I tell you guys, narrative is so important, man. And you could really tell who's around black people versus who isn't. And you see, I just want you guys to take a look at like a lot of those different news stories that you see on certain politically leaning websites where they're like, "Oh, this black male killed this white young innocent," it's you have to read in between the lines with narratives like that because of things like this. This and that's another thing I want you guys to take away. You see here, they went to them and called it a Negro uprising. Whole time, those group of angry white men came to their homes and their places being an aggressor because they wanted to lynch a dude over an allegation that they didn't even verify was true in the court of law. It was just rumor and news that got these people so aggressive and they wanted to do what they normally do, lynch black people. And you see what happened. They wanted to fight back, and at the end of the day, you see what happens. It's stupid. Why should a white person's life be worth more because they have less melanin from living farther from the equator? It's that simple, man. Just because you're farther from the equator and you have less melanin present, you're somehow seen as more valuable than someone like me who just happened to, have genetics that trace back to a hotter climate. So it's just interesting to see, man. And it really kind of puts things into perspective because you see remnants of this today where there's a lot of colorism. I mean, like I said, I'm thankful enough in the black community where like it's gotten better, but I know in those other minority communities like Asian communities or Spanish communities, being lighter skinned is like praised. But that all stems from the colorism. And again, no, and this is why I tell everybody, everyone likes black culture, likes black style, like black swagger, but nobody wants to be black. When it's time to be black, nobody wants to be black. And I say this to you guys here. Take these conversations and have these uncomfortable conversations with your family members or friends around you. If you hear certain shit like, "Oh, I don't want to get too dark," or "Oh, I don't want to," just ask them, implore them. Why? Why do you think that is? Why don't you want to be dark? Like what's wrong with being darker skinned? And then you'll slowly see and you can pull it out. Because when you have these conversations and they give you enough information, you're able to really break it down and understand. Okay, it reaches back to this. Yeah, but Moises, you got to remember Mexico and the Spaniards, man. Spaniards are just like a Spanish white folks. It all goes full circle. As I said, man, white folks took over the whole world, bro. But it's just a byproduct of that. I quite literally never understood why people like those different. Yeah, Super Ninja. We're in a way more progressive time now, but back then,
Residents were arrested and detained for a week. Upon release, many joined the rest of the homeless living in Red Cross tents.
so you went from having diamonds and going to church on Sundays with gold, a developed economy that you built brick by brick, just for white people to break down your house, burn everything down, and now you're homeless starting from square one all over again.
With nowhere left to go, many stayed and suffered through a brutal winter under the
Oklahoma
canvas.
winter, guys.
Greenwood had
That
been
shit's no
rendered
joke.
unlivable, and Tate Brady, a Klansman in the local government,
Just to make it even better, guy. I didn't know this, but dude named Brady, Tate Brady, he's someone who was a Klansman, a part of the KKK, and was also in the government, the local government, guys.
thwarted any plans to rebuild. Efforts were made to relocate the disenfranchised even further away.
Push
but
them
the
away. We
displaced
don't
of
want them near
Greenwood
us.
dug their heels in and took the case to the Oklahoma Supreme Court.
Nice.
They won, but Greenwood would never be the same. And today, much of whatever was left of Black Wall Street has been paved over as part of Interstate 244.
Damn. So now it's just a highway, guys. What was once history is now a highway now.
J.B. Stratford and 20 others were wrongly accused of instigating the riots. But other than that, there were surprisingly few charges brought up on anyone. Stratford jumped bail and later became a successful lawyer in Chicago, and the Tulsa police chief was relieved of duty. But neither he nor the rioters saw a day of jail time.
Does this sound familiar? Not a day of jail time? Remember the dudes who killed Emmett Till? The dudes who killed Emmett Till, took him in the night, lynched him, broke his face up, broke his body up, sodomized him, and threw him in a lake. They didn't go to jail. They were unanimously seen as not guilty. And at the end of the day, when you're white, you can just get away with certain things, man. Unfortunately, it's the reality of it.
Yet perhaps the most startling part of the story is what happened to Dick Rowland. Sarah Page left town after the massacre, leaving written instructions not to press charges. And upon
Hold on, chat. Did y'all hear that? Let me play it again. The whole thing that started this, the whole thing that started this, the whole two that started this whole thing. What did she say? I'll play one more time for you guys.
perhaps the most startling part of the story
The
is
base
what
of what all
happened to
started
Dick
it.
Rowland. Sarah Page left town after the massacre, leaving
She left town, right? And she left a written instruction to what?
written instructions not to press charges. And upon
So she wasn't even gonna press charges. She probably seen it as like a, something that wasn't as deep as it was perceived in the news.
release, Rowland left Tulsa and never came back. Both disappeared from the pages of history. We don't know where they went or what became of them. They were gone, like Greenwood. On a personal note, I find it incredibly distressing that this incident and others like it were not more widely taught in U.S. schools.
You guys heard that? One more time. They say 3 times to get it.
Incredibly distressing that this incident and others like it were not more widely taught in U.S. schools.
One more time. Mach, what did you say, Mach? Remember what we were talking about? Just one more time.
Incredibly distressing that this incident and others like it were not more widely taught in U.S. schools.
Wasn't taught in U.S. schools. And we have a president who's trying to erase Black history. I'll leave that at that, guys. There's nothing else to say. Nothing more else to say here.
It's hard to imagine how we're supposed to progress as a society if we can't own up to our transgressions and recognize wounds that need healing.
Because what, guys? History what?
Because while this is a terrible story, it's also a necessary story, one that we cannot afford to forget.
100% agree. Thank you for the video, my good sir. Repeats itself. Exactly. I hate this. Whoa, that's a crazy thing to say. What it says. The European colonizers no better than the ones in Africa. Yeah, they colonized the world, man. But it's not a rug sweep, guys. It's just a highway built over a piece of land for no reason. The way highways were used to cut through certain communities is a whole nother fucked up subplot. Hey, Sir Liam, they're not ready for that one. They're not ready for that one. Because even she knows it's propaganda. Oh, damn, I could teach you guys so, like... Okay. I'll let you guys choose. Because we're going to do this quick. Because I've been yapping for like an hour. But I feel like this is important. Do you guys want to know about how Black people were treated after the Vietnam War and the like after effects of that? Or do you guys want to know about the first black heavyweight boxer and everything surrounding that politically? What's good? Yo, Vaughn, you just missed it, man. I taught chat about I taught about the legendary Black Wall Street, man. I just taught him, Vaughn. I put him on game, yo. But I say you gotta look in chat. I don't know if you can see what's said in the red app, but and Mott said that's why it's important for people to teach others. I'm telling you. But that's the thing, Mach. I just feel like there's so much ego and pride, especially when it comes to like no one wants to admit that their great grandparents were racist and seen Black people as less than or second class citizens. So he said, yeah, he said, when did I first learn about Tulsa? It might have been at school, but my schools aren't entirely representative. Vietnam. Y'all saying Nam. We could talk about Nam in the GI Bill. But let's see. Let's see if I can find something on it. Because I want it to be like taught like I like this style where the guy covers it and I provide extra context and then he kind of goes over something that I might have missed. Unc for real a Twitch guy. Last day. We still got like roughly a little bit over an hour. Let me see. Let's see. We'll say Black veterans after Vietnam War. Let's see what pops up. Oh man, this might get deep, man. Oh man. Okay, we got 5 minutes here. I want them to explain about like the GI Bill and stuff, but we'll see. We'll see what it's looking like. So the title of this is How World War II and Vietnam Veterans Were Treated Differently. Let's see. Let's see if it covers what I want it to cover.
Veterans of both World War II and the Vietnam War risked their lives for their country. But the way they were treated by both the US government and their fellow citizens could not have been more different. A lot of that had to do with why they were fighting in the first place.
Wait, but just as the groundwork, do you guys know what was going on in Vietnam and why there was a war in Vietnam? A lot of people see it as the war that we should never got involved in the first place. But if you guys are familiar with the Vietnam War, then we don't really got to provide back. Okay, so I feel like, I don't know, Sir Liam and Vaughn, maybe y'all can help me fill it in a little bit if I'm just trying to give a brief synopsis. So I saved like 100 people. Yo, Cece, shut your ass up, yo. Basically, to keep a long story short, again, I don't know if they want to fill in any of my but the Vietnam War was because they were starting a revolution in Vietnam, and like, this concept to them was like, it's been a while. No, I'm a little blurry on it too. That's why I was asking if anybody want to fill it in, but because I don't want to misquote anything. But basically, America got involved with Vietnam because there's a Vietnam Revolution, and it was like the Vietnam Revolution people versus the old school Vietnam people. And the Vietnam Revolution people was like growing and getting a big ass mass because they were tired of being treated a certain way. So the old school people in Vietnam was like, yo, we might need some help over here. So then they send a lot of motherfuckers from the US over to Vietnam when it wasn't even necessarily anyone's, like, our fight to begin with in the US. But the big bad US, what's up, Wander? I'm talking about Black History right now. I'm trying to give a long story short so we can get into this Black History lesson. But basically, they kept sending over a lot. I'm very educated. Yes, about communism, because communism is so bad and communism is so crazy. I talk about Black Wall Street, but I'm talking about the Vietnam War and how black soldiers were treated. But yeah, so communism was so bad and so horrible, and we needed to stop this. So they started sending all. They started sending all of these U.S. soldiers over there to try to get them out of there. So they go over there. They start getting their shit whooped, stepping on big ass bamboo traps, all of this and all of that. But the thing was, a lot of black folks got sent over there too, because you didn't really have a choice. They kind of sent you over there because you were technically seen as an American. But what I'm trying to show you guys from this the encounter of the Vietnam War is that a lot of black people were still around a lot of racist white people while also having to fight Vietnam folks. So in a lot of instances, you guys were like the minefield testers. Only American when it benefits, exactly. And this is why I emphasize to you guys so much the relationship with, not like the black community and government in general. Government government facilities, state anything government related, state, federal, all of that stuff. It's such a tricky relationship because of how they were done historically, whether it be from Ronald Reagan, war on drugs, having the CIA flood crack throughout the, you know what I'm saying? And then also you have shit like this where you're going to war because you're American, although you were technically seen as second class citizens. You go over there, you're fucking risking your life, potentially getting killed by the white people who hate you behind you, and then you got Vietnamese motherfuckers having you step on bamboo mines, and it's just nuts. It's so nuts. Like I said, this is why I think a lot of minorities, a lot of communities need to learn about the black history, the black struggle, because the black community is such a resilient community, man. But hold on, TikTok's bugging out. But yeah, a lot of I want to see if I can pull up some interviews. I just don't want to take up too much time. But a lot of them were saying they had racist white folks behind them while also having to look out for Vietnamese soldiers who's trying to take their head off. Because when you were black, you were like front of the line. Like you were the one that tested out to see if the ground was solid. You took the steps. You were getting pushed to go see where the minefields were. You had to test your feet in bamboo traps, shit like that. You went through the thick of it on both sides just to get back and find out that you didn't qualify for a GI Bill. It's so fucked up, but I'm gonna, like I said, I want to have them explain it. So let me let this play for a little bit, and hopefully they cover what I hope they cover. Hopefully it's a good video. What's up, X? Ian could low-key be a history teacher. I'm not that interested. Only American. I swear I'm subbed. How'd I get an ad? I was, hey, a top month flies by, Moises. I'm telling you. Yeah, X, I'm teaching the chat about Black history since the last day, man. Y'all saying I could be a history teacher? Gathering recruits is crazy. I'm just teaching people about the things I want to learn, man.
Veterans of both World War II and the Vietnam War risked their lives for their country. But the way they were treated by both the U.S. government and their fellow citizens could not have been...
Remember what I said about the government, guys.
...been more different. A lot of that had to do with why they were fighting in the first place. On December 7, 1941, Japan waged its surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. The U.S. declared war on Japan, and it didn't take much to convince the nation to rally around the cause.
The sudden criminal attacks perpetrated by the Japanese in the Pacific.
And then again, this is why I love history so much, because you see I'm guessing the vid won't talk about, I'll maybe watch another video or two, but this is why I love the intersectionality. Remember what, what's up, Dino? Remember what I said about the, like in the Asian community? Again, I'm a black dude, but I know of it because there's a lot of similarities between the black and Asian community. But in the Asian community, there's that big subscription to the model minority myth, and like Asian being like the colorism and that white approval. It's like during this time, if you were Japanese during this whole war, they treated you arguably how they treated black people, if not worse. Like, I think during this time, it was like a neck and neck for who was treated the worst. Like, it was bad, man. There was so much racism against Japanese folks. And then it's like, it's fucked up because throughout history, you see there's a lot of, like, Asian groups and black groups. We dealt with a lot of the same stuff. But you see now a lot of folks that are Asian don't like black people. And it's like, it's so many symmetries, but
have treacherously violated the long-standing peace between us.
And when Japan's ally Nazi Germany declared war on the U.S. days later, World War II took on the larger goal of fighting fascism. Though there was a draft, thousands voluntarily enlisted to fight, some even lying about
a lot of, you know what I'm saying? It was still bad. It was still, yup, I agree. Yeah, they put Japanese people in camps, man. Shit's nuts. So fucked up. I been knew this shit. I low-key loved history in high school since 6th grade. Actually, it started my favorite teacher who ever thought was history.
Their age or illnesses to get in. The reasons for U.S. involvement in Vietnam were a bit murkier.
This is what I'm trying to tell you.
At the height of the Cold War, America's leaders were determined to...
It's just, everyone hates communism, I guess. But again, I'm not trying to be biased here, but is it really that? You know what I'm saying? I heard about China. I heard it's pretty fire in China, man. I don't know, bruh. I don't know. Hold on one second. I gotta text my girl. All right.
Stop the spread of communism.
Yo, y'all be sure to keep liking that stream up.
So they threw their support behind the South Vietnamese to prevent a takeover by the communist North.
Right, as I was saying, it's like the new revolution in the old folks.
But unlike World War II, there wasn't even a formal declaration of war. And a majority of Americans weren't concerned with the affairs of the Vietnamese.
Right.
But President Lyndon B. Johnson and the powers that be wanted a win against communism. So the U.S. escalated involvement, sending over 2 million troops to Vietnam.
Yeah. I heard it's bad in Cuba too. But like I said, there's different examples throughout history from what I understand.
Throughout the course of nearly a decade. In contrast to World War II, many potential Vietnam recruits actively avoided the draft. Muhammad Ali, one of the most famous examples.
Hell no, we won't go!
Support for the troops at
Mm.
home also reflected the nation's
See what I'm saying? Look, who's the color of that person?
attitudes toward
Who's the color of that person right there? With that sign? What that sign say? Who? Oh, shit, I can't see it because my face is in the way. It's a black man with glasses. Okay, a black man with glasses.
the two wars. World War II propaganda urged Americans to aid the troops abroad in any way they could. Civilians donated scrap metal and rubber for equipment, rationed food and gasoline, and even grew fruits and vegetables in so-called victory gardens. During the Vietnam War, the mood at home was downright hostile. Vietnam was the first televised conflict. Footage and photos beamed every ugly detail directly into American homes. Atrocities against women and children, drug
Like I
use,
said, the way they were treated is so fucked up, yo.
and chemical warfare. The images sparked a massive anti-war movement that demanded American troops come home. And here's where the experience of World War II and Vietnam veterans diverged the most: the homecomings. When
Okay,
Japan
hold on.
surrendered in 19...
Hopefully they talk about it. So remember, after the war, everyone's coming home. There's supposed to be a GI Bill. I don't know if you guys know what the GI Bill is, but there's supposed to be certain benefits with being in the war and being enrolled in the military.
1945 and World War II ended, victorious soldiers arrived home to ticker tape parades and emotional reunions with loved ones. After nearly 10 years of fighting in Vietnam, the cost and casualties proved too much for America to bear. The U.S. finally withdrew in 1973, and South Vietnam fell to the Communist North 2 years later. It was America's first major
Captain
defeat,
America.
and the troops bore the brunt of this loss when they returned home. Many recalled being spat upon or called baby killers. Others felt ostracized as scapegoats for an unwinnable war rife with
Yeah, I don't
dishonorable
think this
conduct.
is necessarily talking about what I...
And this led to another stark difference: the way veterans were treated by the system after returning home.
Okay, yeah.
When World War II soldiers came home, the Veterans Administration offered them generous education benefits.
This is what the GI Bill is supposed to be. Hang on. Let's lock in.
After returning home. When World War II soldiers came home, the Veterans Administration offered them generous education benefits and a monthly living stipend under the GI Bill. In contrast, Vietnam veterans often had trouble receiving enough compensation to cover their living and educational expenses. Bureaucracy, red tape, and cutbacks led many to avoid the VA altogether.
But again, what I was trying to get at here is black folks didn't get the GI Bill during this time. They didn't get any of it. They were just like, okay, you served? All right, bye. You almost got killed by the racist white dudes behind you, and you don't get the GI Bill though. So that's the point I was trying to make, but I want to show you guys. I wanted to talk about it. Okay, let's see if this is
As far as on a personal level,
race relations between blacks and whites in the Vietnam War.
you would find some white soldiers, guys who was okay. They didn't exercise racism. Then you found some who had what you would define as being impupous racist. They didn't like blacks, and that was that. Well, I had became aware of no problem. You don't dig us, well, hey, we don't dig you. But you would always find exception. You find some white guys that was cool. You would find some black guys who we would define as being uncatone. That they would hang around, like a white officer. They hang around with the white guys. Everything that blacks would be into, that they would go and tell a man. That was their preference. Maybe they were trying to become white. That was the reference. That's how we used to refer to them. But basically, a lot of us chose to. This is basic support unit. We just kind of chose to stay to ourselves. Like that.
And I think that's also what you see a lot today, especially where I work at, and my different instances where you see like I said, when you're like a minority, or again, I don't want to speak for any other group of black people, but see that I see like a lot of black folks are kind of to themselves, or always by themselves, or they'll sit alone, and just little things like that.
It was at times there was very antagonistic. Some fights may occur, but usually if a white guy, if you cool, you was cool. As far as on a personal level, you would find some white soldiers,
I just want to like look up why. I wanted a video that was gonna cover. CGI. Okay, it says. Okay, maybe this will cover it. It says lawmakers revive efforts to play back Black World War II service members denied GI Bill benefits. Will this cover it? Like I said, we just winging it all together,
5:30,
y'all.
a major step towards righting an injustice.
All I'm saying is the concept is good execution is near impossible, though. What you mean, Moise?
This Veterans Day. Lawmakers now looking to pay the families of Black service members who fought for our nation during World War II but were denied the benefits of the GI Bill.
Race and culture reporter Akila Davis tonight digging into how this would benefit surviving spouses and all living descendants of Black World War II veterans.
But this is what I was telling you guys again about that generational cushion. When you don't have that and you see time and time again, it's like you just get it pulled from under you, you know? That's why when I hear people just say, oh, like Black people are lazy, they don't want to work. You just need to look at history. And then you guys are always talking about history and you guys are so worried about something that happened so long ago. And it matters, bro.
He didn't have that opportunity to get a loan from the VA or for the VA to assist him in building a house for his family.
The daughters of Private Sam Hairston tell me their father was one of countless Black World War II veterans denied his GI benefits because of the color of his skin. Then banks wouldn't loan money for mortgages in Black communities, and suburban living wasn't an option due to redlining and other discriminatory practices.
Because you guys also have to remember too, let's see, what's the rate? Because when you serve in the military, what is it? Military home loan. What is it? Yeah, so some of the benefits that you get from serving in the military, guys, you have 0% down payment. You don't have to do any down payment. And then you also don't have to get any like mortgage insurance. And like your interest rates are so low. So it's like, remember that example I gave you guys earlier about like when someone who was white and had that family house from generation to generation to generation and didn't have to pay money for rent. You just had to pay the yearly tax bill and like the water and electricity. With the GI Bill, for all those black residents of the U.S. who had to serve or who was forced to serve, they could have potentially got a house and got that generational house that held families. Granted, you know, there's still people who made it happen, but it just was so much harder due to redlining, due to, again, being denied the GI Bill, and who knows what they went through over in Vietnam or World War II, you know? It's just, you just see time and time again, you get slapped in the face just by being Black in America, where you got the government that's fucking you over backwards so many different ways. And then, and this is why I tell you guys too that like, I know there's that whole conversation about like vaccines and why is the Black community so skeptical about vaccines and like the banks. It's crazy because it came into my personal life too. Like growing up, I didn't know what a credit, like my mom told me never to get a credit card. Never. She said never get a credit card, never put your money in the banks. Just stash your money under in a hiding spot. Like get your safe in your house and stash your money in there. I didn't know why. I'm like, Ma, why would I do that? If anything, somebody could run up in here, steal everything, da 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 da. But I gotta remember that she grew up during a lot of that stuff with you know, the just that the government just fucking you sideways, or you're hearing about like banks denying this, GI Bill that. Getting your community flooded with drugs. It just makes you, all of those different instances, all those different relationships with just government officials and just I feel like I'm not getting the right word, but officials of higher power, it makes you not want to trust in them, you know? So that's why I understand, like, I don't think nobody talks about it enough, but understanding that relationship between like police or banks, or like I said, what you seen where you served in the fucking military, risking your fucking life just to get fucked over by the GI Bill and not get denied for getting your GI Bill. You see all these different instances, and it makes you skeptical and not want to trust these different institutions or these different, it all goes full circle, bro. It all, and this is like, I know some people probably think like, Ian, this is far-fetched. Ian, what are you even talking about? But it adds up. You got to think about it from the perspective opposed to just like looking at it, from hindsight or something. Like, if somebody that does this and that, and they keep smacking you, and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna smack you, I'm not gonna smack you, you're not gonna want to find out if they're gonna smack you again or not. You're just gonna go the other way and do your own thing. So that's kind of what I was trying to get to you guys to kind of explain and everything. That like, you see these different instances where the black community, we had to deal with police who was once who weren't civil servants before, they were slave catchers before. Then you got racist folks who are always harassing people in those southern countries, and they're still even racist people to this day. The justice system, there's called the nerd defense, where you have to wear glasses to try to look less threatening because of how you were societally perceived just because you were black. Then on top of that, going to war, fighting wars for people who don't give a fuck about you, and after everything's said and done, you get denied benefits when you need your benefits because you have PTSD from serving the country that enslaved your ancestors for thousands of years. It's, man, I just want to play some Roblox. See, with that in mind, you know what, Wander? I'll leave that there. Some people just don't want to learn about history. My bad, Wander. My fault, bro. My bad. But yeah, all that to say, happy Black History Month, guys. Please have these uncomfortable conversations because it goes full circle. Wander is one track minded. hey, I also know something too. Wander. Never. But yeah, that's really, I mean, like I said, I don't want to bore y'all. Yeah, I don't want to bore y'all about the black heavyweight, so we'll leave that there. But keep it going, no offense, but if you would rather not talk about history, you're a peon. Ooh, clock it. Hold on. Okay, we'll do a quick one on the black, the first black heavyweight champion in boxing, and I'll leave it there. Such an interesting story. It happened to real people, so why should it be kept quiet? Some people just don't, like I said, some people just don't want to hear about it, man. And oh man, this story is interesting, in my opinion. I was up like watching this at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning one time, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. But I'm gonna try to fast forward.
Jack Johnson was a black man back.
He was the first. Jack Johnson's the first ever black heavyweight, guys. Just pay attention to this.
When white people lynched Negroes on weekend, they would send him letters saying, "You fighting a white man, and if you knock him out, we'll kill you."
Imagine you got to fight, and they threaten that they gonna lynch you if you knock out a white dude in a boxing fight.
He said, "Just kill my black buggers. I'm gonna knock this white man cold." I know I'm bad, but he was crazy.
This was the white man's crown, and everybody hated him for it.
Jack Johnson was a man 100 years ahead of his time.
It's just crazy to me too, because like, I thought when it came to boxing and the whole sportsman-like stuff, it was all like, I thought it was always like sportsman-like conduct, respectful, because in combat sports, there's always that mutual respect, like you stepped in to be competition, but not with this guy. Like, this is my first time ever being exposed to something like this. But like the way you guys are gonna hear these people talk or like say stuff, it's kind of crazy. Like, I never seen this kind of animosity, but you got to remember Nelson Mandela, if he boxed.
Born in 1878, Jack grew up in Galveston, Texas, in a racially tolerant neighborhood. While Galveston may have been an oasis of tolerance, the rest of the world was decidedly not. Jack Johnson was bold enough to attempt to declare his personal independence
peace out,
in a world defined by race. In his search for money, he didn't have to grow from the ground. Jack started taking part in events called battle royales. These were contests where several black men were blindfolded and made to fight.
Oh, wow. Hold on. Look, y'all see that? Y'all see that white dude cheesing in the background? He's like, oh yeah, we got us some slurs. We about to just, you see all the white men sitting around. You see them in the crowd? They're all just sitting around laughing, cheesing. Look at the little faces, guys. They're laughing and cheesing, and they get black dudes together, a bunch of black men in a ring, and they just fight. Sound familiar?
While the crowds drank and
Negro troopers enjoy battle royale.
Cheered and placed bets with blood money. Jack learned to fight mostly without the aid of his sight. He learns to read his opponent's movements like Braille, and he starts winning these brutal, degrading.
It's fucked up, man. I watched this before, but this is fucked up, bro. It's like you just got all black folks just in a ring. You just got a bunch of white people around just watching them, like, go fight. I like this one. I like that one with the tattered pants.
With alarming consistency, Jack builds enough of a reputation blind.
It's kind of funny looking at like how they used to box back in the day, because I'm looking at this shit, I'm like, yo, this shit garbage. My hand's better than this.
Folded, that eventually he starts taking and winning regular boxing matches. While boxing was less segregated than the rest of the country, a man of any race.
I also didn't like they drip, because why is bro's cheeks out mid-punch? Like, where they clothes at, bro? He barely got some underwears on, like, and cheeks all out, like, dude.
Could earn a living, assuming he could fight. Jack Johnson could certainly fight. The only title in boxing that was truly segregated was the heavyweight championship. While black fighters had claimed the titles at the lower weights, the discrimination against black heavyweights ran deep.
Time and time again, y'all. I think y'all are seeing a consistent theme here. Just no matter what sort of community, anytime someone who's black or, trying to enter the community, there's always so much pushback because they want to keep their community pure. And as you guys seen from that poster that was put out, as well as all the different examples that I showed you guys, people just don't want black people around. They just want them everywhere else but where they are. And I think that's just...
Until Jack Johnson got too good and too loud.
Oh, no. Yep. See? And this is another thing, because I remember it now. Because he used to love... like sleeping with white women, and he probably one of those like whitewashed black dudes, but all he would talk about is how he loves sleeping with white women, and like that's like his whole thing. And like he said, like he's like to piss off the white dudes, he's saying like, well, your women love me and I'm gonna sleep with da 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 da.
Simply ignore. At the turn of the century, prize fighting was technically illegal. In 1901, he fights a veteran knockout artist in Joe Choinsky. While Choinsky beat Jack, they ended up in jail, sharing a cell for prize fighting. An enterprising sheriff saw an opportunity and snuck 2 pair of gloves to them so they could spar. It was in a jail cell where Jack was put through his professional paces. The sparring prisoners started drawing crowds, and the sheriff started charging to watch.
Wait. Hold on, chat. Just so we can put this in the context. Boxing was illegal. He gets arrested for boxing a dude. They put them in the jail cell together, threw them 2 gloves each. They said, yo, y'all fight. It's illegal, but I'm going to make money off of this while you're in jail. So come fight. I'm gonna have these dudes pay us money. You gonna fight. At least they both got arrested. Yeah. At least they both got arrested. Yeah, but that's not really the fact that they got arrested, and then you have the white sheriff still making money off of them fighting in a jail cell because they're both arrested. That's where the problem is for me.
Soon released on good behavior and with a few new tricks in his bag, Jack would make his run at the segregated title.
Segregated title.
In 1902, Johnson makes his mark on the division when he upsets the 2-time former colored champion.
Oh, yeah, because they were only allowed to fight other black folks. Like there's like you guys know the basketball leagues were segregated. I think basketball, boxing, all of this stuff is segregated. So he's only fighting black folks right now.
Childs.
This is
the
before
next
he became
year,
the actual.
He faced off with the reigning champion, Denver Ed Martin, and beat him on points over 20 rounds.
Yeah, that's
Jack Johnson's reign over
20 rounds is a lot. Just to give you guys an idea. Like I drill 5 5-minute rounds. In boxing, it's 3 12-minute rounds. It used to be 14 or 16, but people used to die. So they dropped it down to 12 now so that nobody dies anymore. And people still die. So it used to be 20 fucking rounds back in the day. Like it was nuts.
where the colored title alone made him a great. Many of his most difficult opponents he met in defense of the colored title. While he was proud of his accomplishment, Jack wasn't satisfied holding a title with a qualifier like colored in its description.
See, so now he wanted to break the barrier, break the color barrier like Jackie Robinson, but in boxing.
As Johnson began his march
Bro got
toward the
endurance.
championship, and the old guard of boxing closed ranks against him, the white champion Jack wanted to fight
ready?
was a tank of a man named Jim Jeffries. By 1904, Jeffries had defended the title 7 times against exclusively white contenders. He
So this the first clash where they mix it up. They mixing.
retired undefeated, never giving Jack a shot at the title. Jack took that personally.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, this dude didn't want to fight him. Ooh, you could probably. I don't want to assume what he didn't want to fight him for, but he retired undefeated, and Jack was calling the call. And this is the thing in boxing where there's a lot of like politics, but he retired before fighting Jack. He retired undefeated, and Jack wanted to fight him for the title.
The next champion was decided when underdog Tommy Burns won a 20-round decision over Marvin Hart. Tommy defended his championship 11 times before finally agreeing to fight Jack after he purchased ringside seats and started taunting Tommy during his fights.
First fight, man. First interracial boxing match.
Burns was
heavyweight.
eloquent in his defense in taking on Johnson, spoke a quote worthy enough to credit him as the first true world.
Yeah, I like that. I will defend my title as heavyweight champion of the world against all comers, non-barred. By this, I mean black, Mexican, Indian, or any other nationality without regard to color, size, or nativity.
Champion. No venue in either the U.S. or the UK was willing to hold the fight for fear of a riot.
That was that bad, y'all. This is what I tell you guys about the white ego and white fragility. If Jack Johnson, they didn't want to host it in either the U.S. or the UK because of the fear of a white man losing to the black dude.
The fight eventually found a home in Sydney, Australia.
God damn.
With the understanding that if it got out of hand, the local constabulary would come in and stop the fight.
The moment Jack Johnson finally comes to grips with the white champion, he smiles a gold-toothed grin at the crowd. Every Jack Johnson fight was in front of mostly white crowds that showered him in racial slurs and threats of
You hear it, guys?
violence. Johnson smiled through it.
Within a few seconds, Burns was on the floor. Burns got up and was knocked down again.
Jack's mastery in the clinch made the champion a rag doll. Tommy looked like a teenager trying to wrestle with his new stepdad.
Smiling at his ass. Yo, that's fucked up. Yo, I'm fighting the dude and he's smiling. Fuck that. I'm coming back with the switch, bro. Fuck all that. He looks strong though. You could tell by how he clinching up. Like, again, that's someone who, you know, you could tell he's strong. He's a stronger guy because you could see he's not. The other dude isn't really comfortable like how Jack Johnson is. Like, you could tell this is like this isn't nothing for him, and the other dude's kind of like, you can tell he's uncomfortable.
Johnson controlled every second.
Too big. He's way too big, yeah. He don't got nothing for him. You could just tell. And you got to remember too, guys, that heavyweights were a lot lighter than they are now. Like, now they're like 280, 260. Heavyweight at this time was like at most 205, 200 pounds. These guys aren't, you know. Yeah, he's just bigger.
The film is stopped by local police the moment Tommy is about to hit the floor. For the first time in history, it was unquestionable who was the best fighter in boxing. The boxing establishment searched for a white man able to beat him. It took them 7 years. Despite the occasional...
Oh, what's up, sub? Yo, we're talking about Black History since Black History Month's about to be over. We talked about a lot, man. We've been live for like an hour and a half. I want to show chat the first black boxer and like all the racism and discrepancy he had to deal with. I don't know if discrepancy is the right word. But...
arrests, Jack Johnson was the freest black man in America.
Yo, and my boy got his white wife right next to him.
He did what he wanted, and the white world hated him for it.
I'm telling you. I mean, not know you.
He lived a lavish lifestyle of cars, clothes, and had his own ideas on what race relations should entail. Jack Johnson is credited with desegregating more brothels than any man in
I know that probably made white people hate him a lot more, bro. He opened all these brothels, and you know, at the time, you know, why she looked like that is crazy. Yo, hey, sub, chill, bro, chill. You said, damn, we really don't have a whole lot of February oppression. Is that the word? Something like that. Boy says, it's almost 12, bro. My brain not working right now. I clocked out at 10, bro.
America. He opened 2 mixed-race nightclubs, and he married 3 women.
That's what I'm saying. All his wives were white, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, white men hate that. And like I was telling you guys before, like when you hear that don't mix shit, or like, I don't know, I've been seeing a lot of people like online say how like weird, like when I hear white women or women in general, one of their first questions they feel like they always get from a dude is like if they've ever been with a black guy before, if they're of a different race and stuff. It's interesting.
All of them white. The establishment was so thoroughly offended by John.
Ian, I have a VOD review for you if you're interested. I went 65-9 on Tank. God, yeah. Save that up. Next time I go live, I'll watch it.
Johnson's conduct that calls grew in the press for the retired, though still undefeated, Jim Jeffries to return and put Jack in his place.
So now they trying to have the dude that retired undefeated. They wanted him to fight the black boxer to put him in his place. Come and show him who the supreme race is.
When Jeffries agreed, the public was whipped into a frenzy by the event that came to be called the Fight of the Century.
I'll win in the first round with one punch if possible. I'll bring home the bacon. I'll wear him down. Ooh.
Even men Jack thought of as friends, like his one-time mentor, Joe Choinsky, defected to Jeffries' camp to instruct him on Jack's tendencies. None of those people were in the ring to help Jim Jeffries.
Jeffrey somehow found the will to keep moving forward. But Johnson's sharp, accurate punches were taking a devastating toll.
Yeah, it's a lot of dirty boxing, though, you can tell.
Jack's spiderweb of a clinch game held the ex-champion in place as he literally and figuratively carried Jeffries, saving him from knockdowns, only to prolong the show and ensure there was no talk of a fluke or rematch. Jack did whatever he wanted to the formerly undefeated champion, and Jeffries was finally allowed to lose in the 15th.
This shit is taxing, though. This is taxing. You got to remember, these guys went 20 rounds. Like, back in the day, it was 20 rounds. Like, it's not 12 no more, like how it is now. They do 20 rounds. That's like almost, wait, 20, that's an hour of fighting, bro. All right, Big Best up. Said crazy how all this happened and Nazi Germany repeated the same history, repeating itself, even now with ICE and their methods being shoot and justify. Moises, you get it. See, my boy got his third eye open. This is also why I made it a point to bring it up during this time. Because it's all repeating itself, but nobody sees it. That's why when people who, like I said, voted for who they voted for, and you've seen the demographics came back as it was, primarily who voted for Trump. But again, time and time again, it's that white ego, man. Yeah, you see them in the back? Hold on. You guys pay attention to the background when he's really starting to beat him up. Like, you see how they're all calm, or they start getting more and more rowdy as time progresses. Look at that background, look. Look at the crowd and their demeanor. They're starting to get up. Starting to shout and throw stuff.
Jeffrey's side called it quits.
When word got out, race riots erupted across the country.
See, again, what happened? What happened to Oklahoma, guys? What did we just learn earlier? What was that?
Dozens were injured. 20 people died. Jack's biggest opponent would finally move against him. The U.S. government began to look at Jack Johnson for violating the Mann Act, a law made to prevent the trafficking of prostitutes and broadly enough to be used against anyone the authorities felt like deserved it.
Violation of the White Slave Act?
The words immoral purposes get applied anytime Jack leaves a state with his own wife in the passenger seat.
Oh, so they didn't like that he had a white wife. They didn't like that he had a white wife, and so they would just make it stick.
He was found guilty by an all-white jury and sentenced to a year and a day. Jack skipped bail and flew to France.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
In Paris, the champion in exile is still defending his title. In 1914, he takes Frank Moran to a clear 20-round decision.
20 rounds is fucking nuts, bruh. You said, it gets worse because during the 2024 election, Oklahoma was 100% red. Hey, like I said, Moises, you giving the 411, I don't even got to say much. My boy Moises, he get it.
Jack was never truly comfortable anywhere but the ring. Signs were starting to show that his intemperate lifestyle might be catching up
Yo, he look geeked, bruh. His ass look geeked.
to him. Jack would never again fight weighing less than 220 pounds. He was so famous that English troops in World War I began to refer to the German 150mm artillery as Jack Johnsons due to their black smoke on impact.
Oh, shit.
Jack Johnson finally meets his match in Cuba against the biggest white hope yet.
Biggest white hope, guys. Hold on. Wait, I think that if I remember it correctly,
Jess Willard was 6'6", 240 pounds of Kansas farm boy strength. Jack took training lightly, having seen the big men box. Jess was far from a classical boxer, and Jack was sure he could KO him quickly.
I'm just mad I'm not hearing none of like the interview. Maybe it's a different video, but the interviews that they were saying, like they were saying like a lot of, oh, we're gonna get this da 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 da, we're gonna show this da 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 where he belongs, and we're gonna make the white race right. Like they're saying a lot of that bullshit, but maybe it's a different video.
Jack started to hammer on the anvil that would ultimately break him. Willard was as advertised, a lumbering target.
Oh, he kind of looked a little faster though. Am I bugging out? Or he looked faster in this one?
But the 45-round distance was a marathon.
45 rounds? What the fuck? Yo, Moish, did you catching this shit, bruh? This is what I'm saying. Like back in the day, motherfuckers would die. 45 rounds. The other one, they said they went 20 rounds. 45 rounds of boxing? Are you fucking serious? 45 rounds? That's what? That's 135 minutes of fighting, chat. And they lit. I'll play it again, Moises. Listen.
But the 45-round distance
45 round distance. 45 rounds, bro.
Was a marathon.
Fighting for 45 rounds. I'm so glad they're sanctioning bodies now, bro. Imagine you got to fight a dude for 45 rounds, bro. Listen, I'm just gonna try to go for the knockout, bro. Fuck it. I ain't going 45 rounds with nobody. Hell no.
Jack landed early and
That has to be attempted manslaughter.
often, but try as he might, he couldn't get Big Jess out of there. The tide slowly begins to turn on the 37-year-old champion.
The tide begins to turn. Yes, nigga, because it's 45 rounds. 45 rounds, brother. People die from 16. That's what I'm saying. That's why they lowered it to 12. That has to be attempted manslaughter. Maybe they wanted him to lose, though, because, you know, he is kind of old. And then, you know, during the time, being black and the champion.
Jess jabbed and punched with patience.
Uh-oh. Look at the crowd, guys. Look at how different the crowd is from the... Hold on. I just want y'all to pay attention to that crowd, bruh.
And after 26 grueling rounds, he was standing, and Jack Johnson wasn't. Rumors immediately swirled that Johnson had thrown the fight for some insidious payoff. But who goes 26 rounds to take a dive?
Wait, so was it 26 or 45?
Johnson returned to Europe and mostly gave up.
I never seen that crowd so electric like that before, bro.
He was still fighting, but he was now up to 240 pounds.
Ooh.
Until he finally got homesick enough to surrender to American authorities at the border. Jack spent his next year in Leavenworth. Jack was never the same fighter, but carries out his career to a drawn-out conclusion in 1931. Jack Johnson dies trying to get a meal at a segregated diner that refused to serve him.
I'll play that one more time for y'all, yo.
In 1931.
He died what?
Jack Johnson dies trying to get a meal at a segregated diner that refused to serve him.
Because whites only. This is a whites only cafeteria. You can't eat here, buddy. Sorry.
Drives off in a righteous fury. High speed and indignant rage rarely mix well.
Damn. So bro got so upset that he got denied 26 when he got knocked out. It was meant to be for, yeah, see, fuck out of here. He got really upset. And again, this is what I'm saying. This is the reality of a lot of black people during this time. You see a nice restaurant, but you couldn't eat there because you weren't served. They're like, we don't serve any hard ER word pies to you. Get out. You can't eat here. This is a whites only place. And bro got mad as fuck that he got denied, that he wanted to eat at a world-class boxer, probably millionaire. They wouldn't even start. They don't give a fuck. It's because his skin color. They don't want to serve him. They don't want his N-word money.
And Jack wraps his car around a telephone pole.
He died driving home in a furious rage because they wouldn't serve him and treat him as an equal individual. You could have a white wife, you could have white brothels, you could have a bunch of white people around you. But at the end of the day, what, guys? You will never be white. And this is why I say it to a lot of my minorities, my Asian community, my Spanish community, black community. The moment you guys accept that you won't be white and you don't need white people approval, you will be better off.
He was rushed to the nearest segregated hospital, but couldn't go the distance. At a time when black men around the country lived as second-class citizens, Jack Johnson
even argue today, same thing.
Lived out loud. His renegade pursuit of freedom would come to redefine what a black man could be. His defiant 7-year reign stands as a beacon for generations of exceptional black men at odds with a society that admired their talent but hated their skin color.
Well said, man. Matter of fact, I have him say it one more time because that was said so beautifully. Because like I told you guys, everyone likes black culture, everyone likes black lingo, everyone likes black attire, but nobody likes being black.
The beacon for generations of exceptional black men at odds with a society that admired their talent but hated their skin color. He asked neither permission nor forgiveness.
Crazy. Man. But yeah, I think that wraps it up. I covered everything I wanted to cover. That was tiring, man. We've been doing this for like 2 hours. You said, I don't want no white approval. These colonizer races don't deserve me caring about them. Hey, like I said, unfortunately, that if that was the case with everyone voices, we wouldn't have the problems that we have today. But I see it run rampant, especially in the Asian community and the Spanish community, really heavy. I even think in the Indian community. I mean, Indian falls under Asian, but you know, it's just seen different. That's why, like, I really try to emphasize, like, to my really small Asian community that I do have, please don't subscribe to that model minority myth bullshit, bro. Just because you're getting white approval, don't do it, bro. Because I don't want to say a certain thing, but it's like I see it running so rampant where I see a lot of folks in the Asian community, they think they can just grip to that whiteness and be around those white people and like be racist like white people to different groups of people because they think they're, you know, higher up or better. But white people don't see you on their same class unless you are white. But obviously, generalization, but you know, it's just certain social statuses. It's an unspoken thing where they just see you as different when you're not white. Like when you're in an all white room with all white people, my guy Liam could tell you. Like I said, he's mixed, but he's white passing. Like you couldn't tell that he's mixed. And the stuff that he's heard, I could only imagine if he's around a lot more white people, the different kind of things he would hear. But like when you hear little shit like there's different things with microaggressions too that you could piece out. Like if you hear like, oh, you're one of the good ones, or like I know Fluff says it as a joke, but if you unpack it deeper, it's a little like, oh, you're my favorite black person. Why? Why say it like that? Why? You know, when you start to unpack those different things, you might not like the conclusions that you get to, but I'll leave that for you guys, food for thoughts. Again, to all my other viewers, man, you guys have these conversations with your family, have these conversations with your friends, and don't mind. Listen, make it uncomfortable if you have to, because I think when you start asking these questions, you really get an idea of the kind of people you are in company with, as well as the different morals and things that they value behind closed doors, or things that they will be more willing to tell you. But you said white people manipulate for you to agree. It's like that phrase, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. You're not so bad for a black person. Hey, quote it, man. We got the quotables for days. But shit, man, I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. Chat, should we leave it there? I don't know what else to do now, bro. I've been talking it up for like 2 hours, but man, that was that, man. That was that. I'm all pooped, man. I gave y'all the GI Bill. I gave y'all Black Wall Street, and I broke down the whole first black heavyweight champion. We cover a lot of. I feel like a history teacher right now, man. We covered a lot of material for today, guys. We might have to get a free period where y'all could do what y'all want to do or something. But yeah, so that's really what I was trying to tell you guys. The whole systematic racism is a really real thing, man. And I hope these different examples that I gave you guys and these different instances kind of show you like, oh, okay, so maybe they're right about this. But maybe tomorrow I'll do some Roblox then. We could try to unlock the bush. I mean, yeah, the bush could get unlocked. Or I get fucking sniped and shit. Or Overwatch. Tomorrow is in 7 minutes. Yeah, so I'll probably just leave it there. I'll probably get some games of Overwatch off stream or something. But nice little stream. Hopefully we covered a lot here. And hopefully you guys share with your friends. Again, to all my viewers, new viewers, lurkers, if you guys enjoy, consider dropping a follow. Really appreciate it if you guys join the community. We're always growing, and I always appreciate it. It means the world. Thank you guys for watching, mods. Thank you guys for watching. But until next time, y'all, sleep well. Have a nice remainder of your night and get some good rest. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.